The episode that I'm sharing today is very special. My guest today is McKayla Thompson, and McKayla is 18 years old, and she is a professional organizer who launched her business in the Columbus, Ohio area earlier this year, right after she graduated high school. So I actually first met McKayla over a year ago when she enrolled in the Inspired Organizer course and started working on her business even before she had graduated high school. So, as you can imagine, she's extremely ambitious and motivated to be an entrepreneur and get her business going in Ohio. So, the episode today with McKayla is actually a coaching call, not an interview, where I am going to be talking with her about where she is with her business right now, what are the potential obstacles that she is working on, and what are the potential solutions or actions that she can take in order to overcome those obstacles. So, if you're listening in today, you are likely to be very inspired by her level of self-awareness and her dreams for her business. But I think that no matter what age or stage of business that you're in, that you'll also relate to some of the common fears that organizers have everywhere. So I hope you get a lot out of listening in on this coaching conversation and that it's helpful for you in some aspect of your business right now.
You're listening to the Pro Organizer Studio podcast with Jen Obermeyer. Thank you for joining in. Jen makes it her mission to broaden the horizons of savvy businesswomen in the organizing industry by instilling confidence and inspiring authenticity. She is a devoted business coach and founder of the Inspired Organizer program. Each week, you'll gain new insight into strategies designed specifically for professional organizers. And now, let's get started.
McKayla, I'm really excited to talk to you today. So tell me just a little bit about you, where you are with your business, and just what's on your mind for today.
So I just started, I just recently moved to Columbus, Ohio, and I used to live in Chillicothe. So I wanted to start my business, and I thought that college wasn't the next step for me. So my dad kind of researched some things, and I went to a NAPO meeting in Columbus, and I absolutely loved it. I was like, this is what I want to do. And then I found your class, and I was super excited about that. And that got me started on everything and was a huge help. So that's really where I am right now. I've been a little discouraged lately because I had like 2 clients act like they are going to move forward with everything, and then they cancel on me last minute. Like I was supposed to have one today, later, and they just canceled on me last night. So I've been a little upset, but
Okay, so let's talk about these couple of clients. And first of all, when you say that you had people cancel, are we talking about they canceled like even just having the consultation?
yeah.
Okay.
So they
All
set
right.
up the consultation first, and then they canceled that.
Yes. Okay. So, right. Validating where you're coming from, that absolutely does happen to people at all stages of business. So, tell me, I mean, maybe pick one of those 2 clients and let's kind of walk back through. How did they find you, and like how did that first initial contact play out?
So I organized my grandma's pantry, and she posted it on her Facebook, and it wasn't really my ideal client, but it was still just to get me started. So I was pretty excited about it. And she contacted me through Facebook Messenger and said that she really needs my help to organize her pantry. And we set up the time, the date. She sent me her address, everything. And then she just sent me a message last night and said that something broke in her house and she didn't have the money to pay for it. So, yeah.
So, okay, did you send her an information packet, or did she go to your website at all so that she understood your pricing and the process before going to her house?
Whenever she commented on the post, and I told her that it was a free consultation, and she messaged me and we set up the date and the time and everything, and then she canceled. So I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she went to my website.
Okay.
So.
Okay. All right, cool. So here's, kind of the way that I have taught you guys in Inspired Organizer, and for people listening, we kind of break down the contact process into several different parts. So there's, the initial, like how you meet, which could be anything, right? Like in your case, it was
Mm-hmm.
Facebook post, Facebook message. But then there's like almost this pre-qualification time where you are spending at least a little bit of time on the phone with them,
Yeah.
talking about what it is that exactly, prompted the desire to get organized, and to ask just a little bit about their situation, because here is like your big opportunity, one, to confirm that they understand your pricing. I mean, the way that I teach is, to have your pricing and all the information that they need on your website, so that you're not just getting calls for people to be like, oh, like I didn't really know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, it's not an inexpensive service, no matter who you are. So then that way you're not, spending a lot of time just giving people basic information. Like your website should be that employee that is doing that for you. So, okay. So when you're on the phone with somebody, you have that's your opportunity to confirm that they know about you and your process, either because they heard about it directly from another client or friend, or they have visited your website.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second really important part about that phone call is that you're getting a sense of the situation before ever going out on one of these free consultations, and potentially wasting your time, because once you get there you realize, oh my gosh, there's all kinds of red flags that I could have seen or I could have known about if I would have asked on the phone. And then the third really important part of that is that I think once you've like invested a little bit of time talking to somebody and getting to know them, and I'm talking about like a 15-minute phone call, like not something super long, that then, if they're setting up a consultation at a specific time and date in the future, that they're at least slightly less likely to just completely flake out on you, because you guys have gotten to know each other. She has verbally told you, here are the problem areas in my home. And she's agreed to that next step of, you'll come in, and that it is complimentary, but that you'll come in to get your eyes on the situation, and talk about the next steps of how to move forward with each other.
Yeah.
So in this particular scenario, and not that I'm criticizing at all, because sometimes we get super excited about people who seem
Yeah.
excited about our services, and we kind of skip some of those steps. So
I skipped that the phone call
the
step.
phone call. Okay. Yeah. And then, and because it is a big assumption to make, right? Like when somebody says, oh, I need you so bad, and they're setting up a consult with you by text message, you're like, well, she said she needed me really bad. And, you assume that like a lot of things are going to go right because you're on your way out to the consultation. But like we kind of went through this outline of like things that you don't actually know. And
Yeah.
one of the ways that, I teach specifically about keeping that consultation free. And a lot of people, initially, kind of get their arms up in the air, and they're like, whoa, 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 like, don't you need to be charging what you're worth and charging for your time? And this is really important, because no, yeah, you're absolutely worth it, but the consultation is where you make the sale. But you
Yeah.
do not want to decrease your profit margins over time by going on all kinds of free consultations with bad clients. Like, you got to
Mm-hmm.
vet them a little bit beforehand. So interestingly enough, with disorganized people who do tend to cancel stuff, a lot of them vet themselves by just canceling on you. Like, she basically flaked on you before you even got there.
Yeah. And
So yeah, go
I would have
ahead.
had to come from Columbus to Chillicothe,
How far
to
is that?
an hour and a
Holy
an hour and
moly.
like 10 minutes.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So
So
really it's like a gift that happened.
yeah.
um,
So I was happy that it happened when I was in Columbus and not already here preparing. I'm actually in Chillicothe right now at my grandma's, but I'm happy that it happened while I was in Columbus, and I knew at least before I came to her house. I mean, she gave me her
yeah.
address and everything, so I was planning for it. And that's kind of what happened with the other client too. It happened on OfferUp. I put a post on there, and she messaged me through that. She sent me all the information, and then I messaged her like 3 days before, and she didn't send me her address. She didn't even read it or anything. So I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. So isn't it kind of nice too, because you get sort of a glimpse of what people are going to be like if they do actually hire you.
Yeah.
You know, through you can kind of like give them a few little tests just to see, like, do they follow through? Are they ready at the time that you plan to call them on the phone? If they were not even ready to, you know, have the phone consultation with you, there's a high likelihood that you're going to show up to their house and they're going to be like half dressed and not expecting you. You know, like they're
Yeah.
just this, you know, making sure that no matter who people are and how they found you, that they go through your process, like helps kind of teach them, like, here's how to be a good client and here's how to get the most out of our work together. You've got to hold them accountable to the way that you do things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What else comes to mind when you think about these two scenarios with the, I know, like you said, it's disappointing to have the consultations canceled, but maybe it actually sticks out to me that you said that you knew she wasn't really an ideal client in the first
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. Because I knew that it was one of my grandma's friends, and that's why my dad was like, don't be so upset. It's really not your ideal client, but it was just some practice for you to be better. For me, I was like, well, it's better for me to get that practice for the ideal client. So I was basically gifting her to drive an hour to go to her house just to really get practice. That's why I did my grandma's pantry, so that I had practice for that. And so, yeah.
Can I challenge that assumption a little bit though with you? You know, if you're going to give away your time for free,
Yeah.
if you're going to give away your time for free, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I do tell people you don't have to, like, don't feel like you don't have to, you know, wear yourself out doing free jobs to prove yourself. But if you're going to give your time away for free and you do want to be, like, in your words, ready for that ideal client, doesn't it make a lot more sense to start to make some connections closer to home in
Yeah.
Columbus where you are, and even give a free session away to a friend of a friend here that more closely represents the kind of people you want to be working with, right?
Yeah.
Because then you have experience of, you know, working in sort of a higher end home with somebody who might have, you know, even if you're giving away the session for free, they might have a little bit more of a budget for products, and that you can really show off like the nicest, you know, work that you can do.
Yeah.
You know, what are your thoughts about that? Because I know that trap of, like, I should take just anybody just to practice the organizing process. It seems very tempting, but you know, I take a pretty strong stand on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Columbus, this has been another struggle.
Okay.
I moved there, and my dad's lived there for a while, but I moved there and I know, like, no one. So it's been I went to networking events and stuff like that, but it's been a struggle to just really get my name out there. I've been trying to learn the best way to do that when you move to a completely new place. So
Okay, so tell me some other things that you've tried. You said you went to some networking events. What else about getting your name out there?
I have an Instagram, and that's really the only thing that I've been active on. But I have, one of my goals is to get Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter going too. But my dad, so I went to networking events, and my stepmom is a real estate agent. So she, we made door hangers, and we were going to go around to neighborhoods and put them on their doors. And it has both of our information on it. So that's basically it, because I've only been there for like a month or two. So I've been trying to learn everything that I can possible
Gotcha.
right now.
Okay, so here's my best advice. Well, first of all, this connection that you have with your stepmom being a real estate agent, like, my brain lit up because I think that there's a lot of things that you could do with that. But the other thing about moving to a new place, and I know that this is true for a lot of women that I coached, is that they feel like, they're starting over from scratch. They don't know anybody, and that it's just going to be more challenging. But my recommendation would be for you to embrace being the new girl like as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like I know that you did a lot of work on your business this summer before moving, and so and that you have your website up and going. So it's not like you're starting your business all
Yeah.
over again. You're just sort of trying to establish those first few, meaningful connections and people in Columbus that can get your ball rolling here. And, there's something about being the new girl where you can say and do things that you one may not have been comfortable doing where you lived before, and
Hmm.
two that you just have kind of an excuse to ask people like all kinds of things. You say, I'm new here and I'm really excited about X, Y, and Z. Who can you introduce me to in the home services area? Or who should I meet? Where should I go? What kinds of events are going on? Like when you ask questions to other people, they naturally want to reciprocate by giving you information, like people that you should talk to. I think there's something about having enthusiastic energy in a new place that kind of makes people excited for you. They want to help you make connections. They want to help you kind of feel like part of the in crowd and like welcome. So to me, every everywhere you go, and I don't mean literally like talk to the grocery cashier about it, but like everywhere that you're going, taking the opportunity to introduce yourself and say, I'm new to Columbus. And I happen to know that Columbus is like very proud of its town. Like
Hmm.
people are very proud of like the entrepreneurial atmosphere there. And so I would, if I were you, especially being young, like find every single like young entrepreneurs meetings that are going on in Columbus and work your way in there and participate and show up. Because that's like when you're talking about getting your name out there, I think that's so much more important than social media.
Hmm.
In my mind's priorities, because you've got to, there is just no getting around the fact that like people have to know you in order to say she's awesome, she's trustworthy, I really recommend her, she's super ambitious, she's got her shit together, like she's amazing. Like that, those are the things that you want to have people saying about you. So getting involved like in that aspect of Columbus to me sounds like a really smart next move for you, especially because like, well, you got time on your hands.
Yeah.
And then let's talk a little bit more about your stepmom.
Okay.
What are your I think it was very very smart for you guys to team up. What are the other ideas that you guys have had about how to promote each other?
So she's been in in her business for a little bit. She's doing really well. So she was just doing she made up that idea to do the door hangers
Mm-hmm.
herself. And we haven't really had any other ideas, but it is really helpful that she's a real estate agent and knows, like, she has a cleaning lady that she uses for her houses and stuff. So we will like work together.
Okay. Okay.
Things like, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So is she the one who told you when you posted about I should be getting into staging or I should be doing more things with staging?
No.
Somebody else told you that? Okay.
So I went to a networking event and it was for H7 in Columbus.
Okay.
And Sharon knows her, but she told me that I should be doing more stuff with staging because organizing isn't a good business. And so I was really upset about that. And I never wanted to go back to the meetings because all the attention was on me, and it was intimidating for everyone else to be adults. And I'm the only, like, I'm 18
Yeah.
and I'm talking to adults and I'm already nervous.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, basically telling me that I'm not going to do good in what I'm saying that I'm doing. So I was like, super upset from that. And I never wanted to go back to the meeting ever again.
Wow.
And it was something that I had never been to that meeting either. So I was new there. And it was age 7 is something that you have to pay for. So I was like, I'm not going to pay for this. Like, this isn't an environment that I want to be in. I want to have people that I not only, like, I wanted to get to know them. I wanted to build a relationship. If I'm going to a networking event, I want them to know me enough to where they can refer me to other people, and I can also do the same for them, and not be in an environment where I feel attacked and embarrassed in front of people that I'm already nervous around. So, and I did do a staging project with my stepmom, but it was just small, something to get to, like, it was between organizing and staging. And I was like, I don't really think this is for me. Like, I want to do organizing. And so then when that lady said that to me, I was like, oh no.
Okay. All right. There's a lot to unpack in that story. First of all, I'm sorry that you had that experience, because not every networking group is like that, and not every experienced group of adults is going to treat you in that way. You know, that you, like you said, you're already nervous about being there, and it felt intimidating. So let's break this down a little bit. So one thing is that the staging business often overlaps and does make sense for some organizers, one, that are interested in it. I mean, I think it's, clear that you dabbled in a little bit and you're like, this is not as much the part that excites you. I mean, it's just not. However, now when the comment of, you should be doing more stuff with staging, when that comes up, doesn't necessarily mean that you need to change your business model, but it does often remind organizers that when people are moving out of a house, that's when a lot of organizing projects are needed. But it's not just about staging. It's not just like literally about like taking the pictures off the walls and styling the shelves and, but decluttering is obviously a big part of staging, but also there's like actual organizing, like there's a lot of logistics behind the scenes when you are in that staging and showing your home process, and like trying to actually think about moving, but also like living in the home that you got people coming in to see all the time. Like this is a lot to manage. So that is one reason why I do think that organizers and stagers should work together, get to know each other, be aware of where they can like come in and complement each other's businesses, because they don't do the exact same thing. So there is some, I'm not going to say truth to what she's saying when she said, first of all, when she said that organizing was not a good business, that was wrong. She may not be aware that you can look at well-known brands like the KonMari brand, the Neat Method brand, like they are growing like crazy, and it's for a good reason. She has a particular point of view that who knows like how long ago she did her organizing business, but that happened then, and this is now. Like it is growing in popularity now. More people understand what it is now. Like who knows what part of it she didn't even like she might have had a hard time getting clients because she was suffering from all these myths of what people can and should be doing. Like there is just no telling. Like you've got to like be super confident that, like you said, her experience is hers, you are a completely different person, and that you are going to work with and attract different clients than she did, and that you might have a whole different approach and style than she did. So please, like, do not let that type of conversation ever bring you down, because like with having any type of business, it doesn't matter what business you're in, is like it requires you to like almost climb a mountain of like confidence every single day just to like continue doing what you're doing. And so for somebody to like actively tell you that it's a bad idea, I'm sure from her point of view, she felt like she was trying to protect you in some way. But from my point of view, she is like living in her own world where she doesn't see that other people can be successful in it because she doesn't know how to be successful in it.
Yeah.
All right. So that being said, oftentimes there is sort of an easier entry point into helping people get organized if you for example, when you focus on people who are moving, selling a house, like that often is a time when the benefits of being organized are more easily understood by people because it has a clear financial return for their house because they're trying to sell it.
Yeah.
So there is, I'm not saying it's true that organizing is bad business and staging is a good business, but there is some truth to saying it can be easier to explain to people, especially in smaller towns that haven't heard as much about what professional organizers do. This is a great way to sort of help them see the benefits. And then there are other things that you can also offer, like once you have your foot in the door with that part.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, I want to kind of go back to your stepmom. And first of all, let me just say it is amazing and such a blessing that your dad has, prioritized helping you with this and, taking the time to do your website. I mean, that is incredible, and
Yeah.
supporting you in getting this started, and then to have your stepmom also be like in a related industry and for her to take the time to do things with you. I mean, I just want to just acknowledge like what awesome parents that you have, and
Yeah.
that
They've done
yeah.
a lot. They've both done a lot for me. I started this in like October, so I took your class throughout in my study hall when I
While
was a senior.
were you finishing high school last year?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
So,
you for telling. I mean, that's just incredible. Thank you.
yeah. So I was doing that every day in study hall. And so I started that last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to Columbus, and they've basically done like help me with everything. I mean,
That's
my dad has
awesome.
stayed up hours and hours to help me with this
That's so great.
whole starting everything. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And another thing is that I moved in with him, and my parents are divorced, obviously. So my mom wasn't supportive of this at all. Like, she wanted me to go to college, and still isn't right now. That has also been taking a toll on me
Yeah.
because it's like I want my parent to support me in what I want to do. I think that a reason why I wanted to be an entrepreneur is because my great grandpa was a entrepreneur and didn't stop working until he was like 80 something years old, and he was a surveyor, and I really looked up to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to be an entrepreneur too, and for her not to support me, it was just like
Mm.
so for my dad to, when I moved in with him and I'm in the environment of my stepmom is an entrepreneur, my dad's working on his stuff to be one, and I want to be mine. Like, that's always been a
That's
goal for
cool.
me.
Yeah.
So
Um, I mean, this is really interesting because this is where business coaching kind of overlaps with life coaching a little bit because there's no separation of you as a person. Like your your feelings about your business and what you want to do with your life and your family relationships, like everything is very interconnected. And
mhm.
so while we definitely don't have to dive into this in this conversation, it it will be so interesting for you to witness your own thoughts and your own story about your mom, like realizing like your mom has her own thoughts and her own story, and that you love your mom, and I'm sure your mom loves you, and that she cares a lot about your success, but that also that as an entrepreneur you start to develop this thick skin where you can handle family who doesn't get it, friends
Mhm.
that you don't really have because you don't have time,
Yeah, I really don't have any.
yeah,
It's so true.
clients who you deal with all types of client stuff, people who let you down, people that you meet out networking, like that woman who seemed to want to bring you down a notch. Like it's like being an entrepreneur is like jumping into the deep end and signing up for a personal growth challenge
Mhm.
that never stops because it never gets easier because there's always another level. So your mom your wow, it's like your dad is a part of that, your mom is a part of that just the same way that your dad is, except her role in your journey is, it looks different and it feels
Yeah.
different and it sounds different, but like you being young is another part of your story that you've got to get stronger
Yeah.
about over time, because a lot of those and this is true when people think they're too old too, and and maybe that's more common for what people have said to me, but it's the same thing. Like, no matter what your story is about your age, it is always a story that you do actually have choices about. And of course, I'm not saying that it doesn't matter at all, because sometimes we are limited by our stage in life and what we're able to commit to and what we're able to do. But you've got, like, I mean, I see you having these resources available: your dad, your stepmom, the resource of time, the resource of freedom, and the ability to like go all in on this. That, like, honestly, if you're getting clients and you're doing the work and you're actually making things happen, like, of course, you're making people like that woman who said to you, this isn't a good business to be in. Of course, you're going to make her uncomfortable.
Yeah. Whenever
Doesn't that
they,
make sense? Yeah.
yeah. So like all of these things that have been kind of discouraging, I take it as, okay, I want to prove to them that I can do this. Like,
Hmm.
they make me want to do it more.
Yeah.
Like, they think they want are discouraging me. Like, that lady was bringing me down. She probably thought that. And but it's only making me want to spend more and more hours on getting it started and making it a good business.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And I think that you got to use that passion, because we don't wake up every day feeling motivated, but when you do feel motivated and when you do have somebody that you want to prove yourself, kind of, I mean, use that like a shot of espresso. Let me ask you, I want to ask you a couple more things before we wrap up. One is, I want to revisit your stepmom, and then I want to say one more thing about your age
Okay.
as you're moving forward. Okay. With your stepmom, I mean, even more than just her, you guys working together and her, bringing you in on jobs or whatever. I mean, I say real estate agents know more than anybody else that their business runs on who you know and
Mhm.
referrals, and being out there and just relentlessly uh, talking up what you do and who do you know that needs to buy, who do you know that needs to sell. So, like, if there is any, even if you go without your stepmom, like, things that she recommends, like people that she can introduce you to, once you get to be known as so and so's daughter, so and so's stepdaughter, that can just be a thing that, I would say use to your advantage as much as possible. I mean, you can't obviously like just copy and paste her reputation onto you as a person, but as much as she can introduce you to the people in the area, and help you kind of get in. I teach you a lot of marketing things in Inspired Organizer, but
Mhm.
she's almost like the triple threat. She's a real
Yeah.
estate agent. She's your stepmom, and she probably knows tons of
Yeah.
people
She is a
in
people
Columbus.
person.
Yeah. So I would absolutely like brainstorm, you know, and don't edit yourself. Like, just like list of ways and things that she might be able to, help you get connected in Columbus. And then still go do the things that I was talking about, like the young entrepreneurs groups, the, innovators and those kinds of things that I know are happening in Columbus. The other thing I want to say is, when you were first talking to me about how you connected with this particular client who ended up canceling the consultation and all that kind of stuff. And I was kind of revisiting the importance of having a process that people go through so that you can, I mean, ultimately, of course, you don't want to waste your time, and you don't want
Mhm.
to waste money, and you don't want to waste your own, potential time that you could have been working with somebody else. You don't want to waste that on a tire kicker or somebody who's not really serious. But it's also for your safety. This is, I mean, again, we can't just take it like super lightly that we are going into other people's homes,
Mhm.
and we can't know every single thing about people in advance. So there are there are several reasons why with you, if you are telling yourself this story about what, well, I'm young, or well, I'm just getting started, or I'm new to the area, like those types of things that you tell yourself might be reasons why you don't stick to having a very clear process for for vetting the people that you're working with. And so
Yeah.
whether, and I'm not trying to like scare you about your safety by any means, but whether it's about trying to make sure that people are serious about working with you and all that kind of stuff, and that they take you seriously. If you let pieces of your process fall through the cracks because you tell yourself like, yeah, even though I have that phone call or that contact form or that kind of that part where I find out more about their project and make sure I'm not walking into some like situation that's way over my head for what I can handle on my own. All of those things, like, please stick to them as if you are a 45-year-old woman who's been in business forever. Like, please treat yourself like someone who absolutely must be respected and adhered to, because those things cannot be negotiable for, and that's just for your benefit all the way around. Like, I don't want people to feel like because you didn't really stick to your process in one area that they can kind of take advantage of you in any other area. Like, they don't have to, that they're like asking for special permission or treatment or whatever because you tell yourself you're young and you're just starting, and they'll be like, oh yeah, she's young, she's just starting, she's not super serious about it. Like, I really believe that part of that growth journey, a lot of it happens in your head,
Hmm.
where you do not have to wait until you're 25 years old or until you've been in business for 15 years. Like, all those little milestones, they don't really matter. Like, you can today treat yourself and treat your business like you've been doing this forever, and that you take it super seriously. And that vibe means everything to what your experiences with your clients are going to be like.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts?
Yes. So I I have a process. I mean, I've been reading a lot of books,
Yeah.
but I I guess I messed up on the part where I'm so excited. I'm starting my business. I'm going to prove the
Sure.
people that wrong that have discouraged me
Mm-hmm.
throughout my story. So I just was like, oh, they're going to meet with me. This is great. I'm going to go here. And like for coming to Chillicothe, it was, I'm driving an hour, but for a consultation, I mean, I come here a lot. So I I was volunteering my time for that, but she seemed super excited about it. So I
I
was like,
know.
okay, I'm going to get a job out of it. And
Yeah.
it's not going to be a waste of my time.
Right. Yep.
So I'm learning now, like the phone consultation. I'm like, okay, this is like necessary. We have to do
Mm-hmm.
this now because
Mm-hmm.
I need to make sure that they're actually serious about it
Yeah.
and not just making me drive an hour and I'm not gonna get anything out of it, because that would have been bad.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. I mean, everything you said, like I said, I relate to. It makes sense. And often, often we live in places where we do drive that far for a good client. I mean, so it's not like all of that was it's not like it's unheard of,
Yeah.
to be willing to venture out and go on the consultation. I want you to have as much information up front so that hopefully you never go to a consultation and walk away being like, wow, I couldn't get out of there, I felt guilty,
Yeah.
I knew I was wasting my time, I knew that it wasn't a good match, I knew that they couldn't really afford it, they ended up trying to talk me down out of my prices, but I was there in person and I got scared, and then I agreed
Mhm.
to do it for free. I mean, I'm not making this up. This happens. Like, it
Yeah.
has happened because people, um, they get nervous when they're in person. I mean, this is why the consultation and like being the sales process, you've got to be ready for it. It's not
Mhm.
just like you know, it's not what it looks like on the outside. Like, there's a lot more that goes into it. So anyway, girl, all of this, every single thing that you have been through is all amazing information. Like,
Yeah.
you are like learning at like such a rapid pace, what even when you're learning what's not working. So just if you can just enjoy this as much as possible and be like, ready to learn as much as possible. Like, I know obviously you're super ambitious, like very coachable. I know that you're going to end up like blowing it out of the water once you like get, kind of everything in sync.
Mm-hmm.
McKayla, this was so awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I know that there are other people who got a chance to listen in on this conversation and that they are now cheering you on from all over the world.
I was so happy to be here.
Awesome. All right, McKayla, I'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Organizer Studio podcast. If you'd like to learn more about time-saving services and resources for professional organizers, visit www.proorganizerstudio.com. And if you'd like to get Jen's roadmap to success for launching and growing your professional organizing business, go straight to www.proroadmap.com.